Hello everyone, in this video I want to run through how we can use our calculator to do a lot of the stuff that we've been doing over the last week or two with linear graphs and functions. So first of all, let's jump into the main page and let's start by just clearing everything. I want to start by just going over how to use solve. So if we go up here, action, advanced, solve, we can get it up that way. We can also, of course, get it up by opening up the keyboard, and in the Math 1 tab over on the right here, we've got solve. And I can use that to solve equations. For our purposes, we're going to use it to solve linear equations. So, for example, let's say I have the equation 8x, let's say I've got this, what can it be? Let's say I've got 2x over 6 plus 10 equals 10x. And I want to solve for x. So all I need to do if I want to solve this equation is just stick the whole thing into the solve function of the calculator, and then I'm going to put comma x at the end of it. And what that does is it tells my calculator whatever letter I put after the comma there, that's the thing I'm solving for. So I want, by saying comma x, I'm telling my calculator, I want you to give me something that says x equals. That might seem a bit pointless when I've only got one variable in the whole equation, but it's going to become really useful really soon. So if I put that in and I hit execute, it'll give me the value for x. Okay. I can also, down the bottom here, change it from decimal to standard, and if I do it in standard, it'll give me the answer as a fraction rather than a decimal. Okay. The second thing that we can use solve for, and this we haven't seen yet, is using it to rearrange linear equations. So let's say I've got something like 3x plus 6y equals 18. We know that could be rewritten in the form y equals mx plus c. But at the moment it's not in the form y equals mx plus c. And over the last week we've been rearranging that by hand to put it in the form y equals mx plus c. But I can also just use the solve function of my calculator to do it. I want to tell my calculator to give me this in the form y equals something. So to do that, I'm just going to put comma y at the end. And that's telling my calculator I want to know what specifically y equals. I want you to isolate y for me. And when I hit execute, it'll give me the answer. Y equals negative x over 2 plus 3. So it gives me the equation. Okay. The next thing I want to look at is actually drawing graphs in this calculator. The way that I can do that is, there's a couple of ways. I want to start by showing you one. So in the main page here, let's say I've got that equation, 3x plus 6y equals 18. Okay, let's say I get given that, and I want to know what that looks like as a straight line on a graph. Okay, so up here, if you notice, there's a symbol there of a graph. And if I tap on that, then at the bottom here, it actually opens up the graph paper. Now, just quickly, right now, my cursor is on the bottom part of the screen here. If I tap back up there, it goes back up to the top, and you can see which part it's on by whichever half of the calculator is outlined by that blue line there. What I can do is, let's say I've got this equation, I can tap on it to highlight that equation, and then I can actually just drag it down into the graph there. Now I can rearrange this bottom half of the calculator there. If it's not centered on screen, I can go up here and I can hit zoom, and I can go to auto for it to just automatically calibrate to see the line the best, or I can go down to original and it'll take it back to being centered. Let's for now go to auto. Okay, so I'm looking at this line that is the equation, it's the line of the equation 3x plus 6y equals 18. There's a few things that I can do now and they are all up here in analysis. If I go analysis, gsolve is the one that we want. In gsolve, there's a few things I can do. First of all, I can find the root. The root is the x-intercept. If I hit the root, it comes up with a little purple cross there, and it tells me what my coordinates of my x-intercept are. So it tells me y equals 0, which is, of course, what it equals for the x-intercept, and it tells me x equals 6. So it tells me what my x-intercept is. You'll also notice up here, it tells me the equation of the graph in the form y equals mx plus c. So I can find the x-intercept. I can also go gsolve and find the y-intercept. And then it'll tell me here x equals 0 and y equals 3. So the y-intercept is 3. One other thing I can do, which will be very useful, especially in a couple of weeks when we start doing simultaneous equations, is let's say I had another equation as well that looked like this. Let's say it was 4x equals, what should it be, 16y plus 20. I can drag that down here as well, and it'll draw that one. And if I drag them both down, it'll actually draw both of them in different colors. So let's zoom on auto so that I can see them both clearly. And now if I go up to analysis and gsolve, you'll see there's another option here of intersection. And if I click that, it'll tell me where do my two lines intersect. They intersect at x equals 5.67 and y equals 0.167. Okay, so that is going to be especially useful when we start doing some simultaneous equations and graphing more than one thing at a time to find the intersection. Okay, so that's the extent of what I'm going to show you of what we can do on the main page. There's a couple more things I want to show you though. If we go back out to the menu, first of all, if we head into statistics. Now let's say I've got a table of values that give me x and y values. And it's a linear relationship. So some of the stuff that we've seen already. What I can do is I can put all of those x values into list 1. So let's say my x values were 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then I can put all of my y values into list 2. So let's say it was 12, 17, 22, and 27. Okay. Up here, if I go calc, now when we were doing statistics, we were going to one variable or down to distribution. Now I want to hit the regression over there. So I'm going to go regression, and I want linear reg because this is a linear relationship. X is in list 1, Y is in list 2. I hit OK, and it gives me the equation of that line, the equation of the line that would be drawn with those table of values. So up here it says y equals ax plus b. It uses a and b instead of m and c, but it's still the same format, and it tells me what my values for a and b are. So it tells me that the equation would be y equals 5x plus 7. Okay. The last thing I want to show you is if we head back out to the menu and we go to graph and table. Now here, let me just clear everything first by going edit clear all. Here's just, I guess, a more formal and cleaner way that I can do things with graphs. We don't need to worry about this so much at the moment because everything that we need to be able to do we can do in the main page. But just to show you, if I have something that is in the format y equals something, then I can put that in here. So let's say I had y equals 2.5x minus 4, and I hit execute. You'll notice that when I hit execute, that box there becomes checked, and now whatever boxes are checked, let's say I have another equation as well, and it's the form y equals negative x minus 3. So if they're both checked, then when I go up here and I hit this graph symbol, it'll graph all of the equations that are checked. So let's hit that. Now you'll notice that it's not in the proper spot here, so I can zoom around, I can kind of move around with my finger to find where my lines are, or like before I can go up to zoom and hit auto and it'll do it automatically for me. There we go. And then up here in analysis, gsolve, I can do all the same things that I did on the main function. So there isn't really any need at the moment to use this specialized page. Everything we need to do we can do here in the main page, but I did just want to show you that so that you know that it's there. Okay, so just to recap, what have we done? We've spoken about using solve to solve linear equations. We've spoken about using solve to rearrange linear equations. We've spoken about using the graph symbol up here to graph equations on the main page, even when they are not currently in the form y equals mx plus c, and then using analysis and gsolve to find the x-intercept, the y-intercept, and the intersection of two lines. And we've also spoken about how to find the equation from a table of values by using the statistics function over there.